Have you ever had the desire to go on a new exciting adventure, to learn something different and challenging that will not only test your athletic ability, but also the fear of death? Have you ever wanted to kayak down a rushing river and experience the challenge of whitewater rapids? To have the sense of survival while at the same time having a lot of fun? In today's edition of The New Directors, you will learn about the experience of a whitewater kayaking on the Pinnacle River in Milliken, Maine. The Humanities Communication Arts Department at Norwalk Community College presents The New Director, the show that introduces you to the television's future writers, directors, and personalities. And now join our host, Nicolette Calderon, to meet the new director.
Thank you for joining us today for today's edition of The New Directors. All of the people involved with this program are students in the television production course and are directing, switching, controlling audio, operating cameras, and acting as talent for the first time today. The guests you are about to meet are students who were not on camera, are behind the scenes, working hard to bring this program to you with as few mistakes as possible. Each student will write and direct 4 different productions. This program will give them the chance to talk about themselves, productions they have completed, and give you the chance to get to know them and watch their progress throughout the semester. Our guest today is a person who likes to undertake new adventures and challenges. This past summer, she enrolled in a whitewater kayaking course in Millinocket, Maine, to learn how to maneuver whitewater rapids. Now, I would like you to meet our guest today, Eddie Cesario.
Hi.
Hi, Eddie.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Now, could you tell us why you decided to do this whitewater kayaking trip this summer?
For years, I've been kayaking on the Long Island Sound just recreationally, and I wanted to bring it to a new level. I wanted to try and be challenged, so I decided to enter into a whitewater kayaking course. I went online and I searched for one, and Maine Kayak offered it. And I drove up to Millinocket, Maine with my husband, and we took the course on the Penobscot River. The course started off, these are the fundamentals of kayaking, where they taught us the equipment. We learned about the kayaks and how to get in and out, how to paddle, the flotation devices, how to put it on correctly. We could wear wetsuits if we wanted to. And here in the video, you can see me ready to go out. We all had whistles on our PDFs, just in case someone got in trouble, we could be rescued. Everyone wore helmets because there are a lot of rocks once you get down the river. And everyone had to wear the PDFs, were very important. I think anyone kayaking, even on flat water, should wear a PDF. We started off the lake and moved up from class 1 to class 2 to class 3 rapids. We also learned how to enter eddies, which is shown in this video, which is you're basically getting out of the main water into a safer part of the river. And after you learned that, we learned how to exit the eddies. And exiting the eddies were a little bit more riskier because the water was flowing very strong, and you had to lean into your turn to get into the flow of the water so you don't tip over. Tipping over is probably the biggest danger. This view is a paddler's view, what we see when we're going down the river. But as you can see, a wave will come over, and if you lose your balance, you're off and you're under. So it's very important to learn how to escape the kayak, because it is a skirt around you, and you have to learn how to do a wet exit so you don't drown. It's a lot of fun, but it's a very dangerous sport. I think for people, they have to have the skill of balance, because you have to balance this kayak. They're very tippy. You hit a wave, hit a rock, you're over. So either you know to counteract that movement, either left or right with a different movement. I realized how dangerous it was once I saw my husband actually tip over about 25 times and had to be rescued several times. Literally, I thought he was going to drown. And I sat watching him saying, this is stupid of me to bring him along. He didn't have the skills that I had. So as you can see in this video, the man's actually slammed against a rock. And so it is dangerous. You have to be athletic, you have to have good balance, and you have to be willing to, and a good swimmer. I think swimming is very important. You can't be a weak swimmer, because you're actually swimming against the currents once you tip. So.
Yeah. You had an adventurous summer.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
For me, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looks fun. Could you tell us about why you took these TV production courses?
I took the television production courses because I wanted to learn how to film correctly, and more importantly, edit. I wanted to do little short films. Now it's the age of YouTube, and I thought, oh, that'd be fun to make a little film and put up on YouTube and just see how many hits I could get. So I just was curious and wanted to try something different.
Could you tell us the most useful things that you've learned in this course this far?
I think the most useful thing I learned is composition of my footage. I used to just take a camera and take pictures of people and put them in the middle of the viewfinder, and that was it, and it looks sloppy. But now, with the composition techniques I learned from the professor, I could just set things up properly and also use the right depth of field to show my subject properly.
Could you please tell us about your action sequence, fall foliage, and your orange project that you've created?
The first sequence I did was called the water break. Actually, it's a simple task, and it has NCC's doing Mario Braun just taking a short break to drink a bottle of water. I used different angles, camera angles, and I edited the footage to try to show a fluid movement. It was my first sequence, so I spent a lot of time editing it to just make sure when he brought the water bottle up his mouth, it was all fluid in one movement. And he was very good with me because I kept making him redo things many, many times to get it right. So this is my first project. The next project, I used the techniques I learned from the first project and put them towards another short sequence. This is called Going to Class, and I used, my actor here we had another couple tasks to do in it, and again, I had to do the action, edit it properly, in and out of the scene, and cut it, and so the movement would be fluid, so it's cutting on the action. So here we have her tying her shoes, and I was just, with different action and different shots and angles, I was just trying to get all fluid. I just want to make each movement fluid. And then there's also this scene, she did a conversation piece, was over the shoulder piece. This is my Fall in New England project. It took me a long time to shoot it because I actually reshot some things twice. I started before the foliage was orange and was still green. But I used a lot of different camera techniques on this, like zooming and panning, and use different composition things that we learned in composition. So that was a lot of fun to do. We're being outdoors, and it was enjoyable. This is my orange project. I like this project because it gets us to be creative. We have to write a story about an orange, and my story is about a Newark Community College student frustrated because he can't come up with his story for his orange. So my story is about doing the story. And again, this was a chance to be creative and use different camera angles and try to cut on the action to get the fluid movements throughout the project. That was my orange project.
You got some great shots.
Oh, thank you.
It's a lot of work. Could you tell us about your best project?
At this point, my best project is my Fall in New England project. I have many shots of different footage, and I liked it because it was outside. We had different lines. I used different lines in my shot, and different composition techniques and different movement. Here I'm zooming out on this, but yet also there's geometric shapes and stone wall. I had some wildlife, and the composition here I used them framing with the tree, and they framed the deer. Zooming in here on the ducks, and they brought movement, and I had the reflection with the trees in the background. Here I'm panning up at the trees slowly, like on the, I don't know this correct term, but zooming up. And this shot, it's an S shape, which was part of our composition shapes. And here I'm zooming out, and we have the lines of Midning the Joy because from the thing, and ducks and wildlife. So I really enjoyed this project. I got to use all the different composition techniques that we learned. Again, here, parallel lines, and I'm zooming out also. And here was the rack effect. So I focused and changed the focus.
Very cool. Now you mentioned a variety of things that you learned in this course. Mm-hmm. Could you tell me the most important skill that you're going to use and how you're going to use it?
The most important skill I learned was editing on the action for my editing. I never heard that before. I didn't know anything about it, so I learned that. I would definitely use editing on the action, cutting on the action, I should say. And also, I'm keeping my cuts less than 5 seconds. And for camera work, the most important skill I learned was using a tripod. I've never, ever used a tripod before, and now I always use it because I see the difference in my footage. Without a tripod, everything's jerky and I get dizzy. With a tripod, it really looks professional. Even though I'm not professional, it looks better with using a tripod.
Today we got to meet someone who undertook the challenge to whitewater kayak and to tell us about her film projects. I would like to thank our guest, Eddie Cesario, for joining us today. Thank you, Eddie, for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. Nice to meet you.
We hope you enjoyed meeting one of our television's future directors, and we hope you will continue to join us each week to watch our progress. Thank you and good day.
This has been The New Directors with your host, Nicolette Calderon, directed by Mario Brun. I'm your announcer, Camila Cunha. The New Directors is a Norwalk Community College student production.